Today we're looking at Illow on AppSumo. This plugin, is going to help you with your GDPR compliance. GDPR, as you may recall, is a set of rules put in place by the EU which requires us to process data in certain ways. And you might think, oh, that doesn't really apply to me. I'm not in the EU, but it does. They can require you to pay fines worldwide, no matter where you are. And they actually do as well. It's not just some rule that they just don't enforce. There's a GDPR enforcement tracker at enforcementtracker.com. And you can see a list of a lot of different companies and even private individuals who have been fined. This guy here got off pretty easy. 180 euros is the fine. This one here, an e-commerce site from Iceland, 51,000 euros. And in case you're wondering, euros are worth more than American dollars. So this is 81,000 euros here, which is probably around like 90,000 American dollars for the fine. And compliance is not that hard, but the consequences of not complying can be quite staggering. This is 1 million euros. I imagine the amount of euros is relative to how big the company is, how much money they make. This guy, private individual or girl who paid 600 euros, they probably don't have a very big company, or they didn't have very many infractions. Over on the right here, it says what the problem was, what the reason they were fined: non-compliance with general data processing principles. And I think that could be something as simple as when someone asks you to remove them from your contact list and you don't, or you don't do it in a proper time frame. I feel like this could be that. But this link here will take you to the legalese if you want to read through that, which I don't. I just want to be compliant. That's all I want. And Illow, right over here, is going to help us do that for $69. That $69 is going to cover 10 domains and 1 million visitors per account. I don't know if that means per domain, but you can also scale up to unlimited visitors covered if you have a lot of high traffic websites. And if you want to jump the gun and check out Illow right away, use the link in the description down below. It's an affiliate link. It does not make it more expensive for you to buy through that link, but AppSumo shares some of the payment with me as commission for referring you to them. So if you go through that affiliate link, I really appreciate it. Helps me keep making these videos for free on YouTube. So if you want to check out Illow, please use that link in the description. Setting it up is super easy, and that's what I really like about it. You go over to your Illow platform after you buy the AppSumo deal. This is the page you see when you go in your dashboard and you go to add website. All you do is you add a website, for example, this one right here. Zoom in there, and then click on Scan and Start Setup. And it scans the site for cookies. It scans for privacy issues. It does a whole bunch of scanning, and it's going to help us create all the GDPR compliance, CCPA compliance, and LGPD regulation compliance. That's a lot of alphabet soup, but it's going to help us be compliant with all those things. Once it's done the scanning, all we have to do is add this code to our website. Before I do that, I'm going to open a new tab. I'm going to go to gdpr.com, and I'm going to enter the website we want to make compliant. This will help us check to see if we are compliant. I did the scan earlier, so it came up with the results really quick. So we got a check mark for safety of personal data collection forms, because there are no forms on this website. So that's why we got that one. Prior consent to other than strictly necessary cookies, possible problems. Prior consent to personal data, possible problems. Personal data is transmitted to adequate countries. Not sure what that means, but there are possible problems there too. Other risks of personal data breaches. The scanner didn't find any known issues. And these are mostly GDPR compliant. It shows in brackets what regulations that one's applying to. And this one's applying to e-privacy. Haven't heard of that one, but it sounds pretty general. Anyhow, now we have a baseline. This is what our website currently is before we apply Illow. And hopefully the goal is once we apply Illow, this will be all check marks. And if you're finding this tutorial helpful, click the like button, because that helps this video show up for more people on YouTube so we can spread the knowledge and help more people with this information. So make sure you click like if you like this video. And I checked for CCPA compliance tools. I can just scan your site. I couldn't find any. I could just find checklists and blog posts, and I don't want to go through all that. So if somebody watching this video, somebody who's pretty enterprising, wanted to build a tool like this for CCPA compliance, I'm pretty sure you get some traffic. However, that just applies to California, but California has a lot of people and a lot of websites. So anyway, I couldn't find anything automatic for that. Now we're going to head back into Illow. We're going to copy this to our clipboard. We can send instructions to our developer, which you don't need to do because you're watching this video. We're just going to copy this and this needs to go into the head tag of our site's HTML code. You can do this via Google Tag Manager. I'll link to the tutorial in the card above in the description down below to show you how you can use Tag Manager to add code to the header of your website. I'm just going to do this through the website itself directly using a plugin, and that just goes a lot faster sometimes for making these videos because Google Tag Manager is a bit of a beast. It's like a whole separate tutorial showing you how that works. So we're just going to do it manually directly in the website. And really quick, while I have your attention, I also have another channel that's focused entirely on lifetime deals, like the ones like this one from AppSumo. So if you want lifetime deal software and you want thorough walkthroughs and reviews on how it works and how to use it, check out that channel. It's linked to in the description down below, and it's going to be on a card at the end of this video, so you can link to it directly from there as well. Check out that channel, subscribe, and I'll see you over there. Now we're on the website for rvwithfamily.com. We're going to go to plugins and add new. And I'm going to type in here WP code. They make this snippet insert plugin right up here. It's one of my favorites. Has 2 million plus active installs, 5 out of 5 star rating, compatible with the current version of WordPress. All that checks out. That's all great stats. So I'm going to install this. If you're doing this on a live site, you might want to back up your site first just in case something goes wrong. I have a tutorial to help you do that. It's linked to in the card above and the description down below. So check out that tutorial if you need help with that. I'm going to click on install now to install it and then activate it. And down here on the left, we have code snippets as a new entry. Hover over that, then click on add snippet. And I mentioned earlier you could use Google Tag Manager to do this as well, but you could also copy and paste the Illow code directly into your header file or via a function in your functions file. I have tutorials for that as well, linked to it in the card above in the description down below. The reason I wanted to show you WP code is it's one of my favorite code snippet insertion plugins. One of the reasons is it's got a lot of different snippets that you can easily apply that are pre-done for you for common functions you might want to use on your WordPress site. Just go to all snippets here. You can browse through them. There's a whole bunch in here. The one we want specifically is a blank one. You click blank here or click add your custom code. I'm going to use that snippet. I'm going to make sure we have this copied to our clipboard. This is the Illow code that we're going to insert on our website. Paste that right in here, if I may. Paste. I'm going to give it a title, Illow GDPR Client snippet. And this is a JavaScript snippet. You can tell because it says script here. It's going to delete. Can't delete that. Just make this HTML. I'm sure it'll be fine, even though it's JavaScript. When I go to JavaScript, it adds this script tag up here that I can't get rid of, but we have the link to our actual snippet inside the script tag. We can't edit that one. So let's go to HTML. That should work. Just going to insert it into the header. Down here, we choose our insertion, which is where it goes. We can have an auto insert or a shortcode. Shortcodes you could apply to any post on your website if you wanted to. Auto insert will just put it where we tell it to. We're going to tell it to go into the site-wide header. There's a lot of other options in here as well for you to explore if you're interested in snippets and inserting things in different parts of your website. We can schedule it as well. It's a pro feature, but you can have the snippet only working for a certain amount of time, depending on what you're trying to do. Not with this snippet, obviously, but there's so many things you could add to your website that you might want to have on a schedule. We want this to work on any device. We do not need any logic. We just need it to be there all the time. We do not need code revisions, pro feature anyway. Basic info. This allows you to group tags if you wanted to group tags together, if they have a certain or a similar function that you want them to all work together. I don't really care about that for this snippet. Click on activate up here or make it active. Click on save snippet. And now the snippet should be there. Let's go back to Illow. Click on finish setup and it probably scans our site. Looks like it didn't scan our site, but here it says cookie banner has not been integrated, even though we have it right here. Might take a little bit for that to update. Sometimes these scans don't happen instantly, but there's more to Illow I can show you while this is working in the background. First of all is the fines protector. This is not part of the AppSumo plan. Let me be clear. If you get a lifetime plan on AppSumo, the fines protector is not part of it. But what this does, if you click on learn more, is it is a guarantee that you won't get fined. Latest feature, fines protector. You will never have to pay a fine related to cookie consent again. Our technology is so confident that we guarantee it. And the reason they couldn't add it to the lifetime deal was because the lawyers apparently said they couldn't. And this will protect you fines to a maximum of $30,000. You can increase that amount by contacting them. If we refer back to the enforcement tracker here, $30,000 could cover a lot of the fines, but it's not going to cover all of them. There's some pretty big fines going around. So it's nice to have the fine protector, but it's probably not going to cover everything if you get a major fine. So just make sure you don't get fined. Just make sure you're compliant. I think that's the bottom line. Now we have a cookie banner section. This allows us to adjust what the cookie banner looks like. Down here we can see an example. It's white on white in this section, so it's hard to see. But this is the cookie banner. There's a lot of options to personalizing. Have it be at the top of the screen. See it up here, the bottom, smaller in the corner. I often see it large across the entire bottom of the screen. Sometimes it's in the left corner. I rarely see it at the top, but it's an option. You can activate multi-language. You can select the languages here. That's not all the languages in the world, but hopefully it'll add support for the one that you need. You can change the color. I'm going to make mine blue. I'm more partial to blue than purple. I'm going to make the background color a light gray, I think, just because it'll stand out from the white background a little bit. There we go. We have the ability to add a widget. So if someone says accept all, but they want to see this widget again, they can click this little icon in the bottom left corner. You can change the icon. It can be the Illow logo, it can be a cookie, GDPR, LGPD, CCPA. Choose one of those, probably GDPR. I think that's the biggest one. That's the one that's really handing out the big fines these days. Anyway, you can change your icon. You can't upload your own right now, but you can change it to one of these. I'll change mine to GDPR. You can add custom text. Well, let's keep that as it is. And that's the text that appears right here in the message. And then we have the banner preview area. The banner actually changes based on the location of the visitor, believe it or not. So if we click on banner by region, we can actually select in California the CCPA banner. In Utah, apparently they have CCPA as well. All the other places, all the other states, or these three here, have global selected. USA overall has global. You can add new or have the rest of the world be global, so it shows all of them. Global doesn't mean all over the globe. Global in this case means CCPA, GDPR, and LGPD, and probably whatever they add in the future. So we can specify which ones to show where, because we don't really care about GDPR in California, I think, because it's an EU rule. It applies to EU citizens and EU visitors to websites. The website can be hosted anywhere in the world, but it applies to EU citizens. Although I think also if an EU citizen is in California and goes to your website, they're covered by GDPR as well, because they're an EU citizen. So maybe California should be global. Just to be safe, me personally, I would just make everything global. Just make all the consents everywhere all the time instead of conditionally choosing regions, but that's just me. And to get here, you can go to the banner by region section. We were previously on the position and format tab here, and that's the very bottom of it. Cookie categorization. We can scan our cookies once a month. Scanning is currently in progress, might take a few minutes. And this is what happened when we first walk through the creation of that snippet that we put onto our website. It actually went to our website, it scanned for all the cookies, it automatically categorized them, and then it automatically created policies for those cookies. And then if you were to install new plugins, change things on your site, you'd want to scan this again, because then that might change the cookies that are being downloaded by your visitors. So you want to make sure you're always compliant. And so we scan this at least once a month, apparently. It'd be nicer to scan more often, but I guess once a month is all they can do. We have the cookie consent log. This shows data of individuals who actually consented to your cookies. Once we have this live on the site, we'll see this data in here because we're going to try it out, and then we'll see what is what in that section. Advanced settings, not very many. Consent optimization mode, show banner only in those countries where required. Again, me personally, I just show it everywhere, because I think the EU, the GDPR, if you're an EU citizen, anywhere in the world, you're covered. So it doesn't matter which country you're in, GDPR applies because you're an EU citizen. So me personally, at least I think that's how it works. Correct me if I'm wrong. So me personally, I would show it in all countries. Block cookies until users consent. That's what you want to do. You do not want to have the cookie downloaded, then blocked. You need to have the cookies blocked before they're downloaded. So some other consent plugins will load cookies and then block them. They'll only load for like a split second, then they'll block them. That's not compliant. That will show up on this website to GDPR as not being compliant. So you want to make sure you block cookies until users consent. So nothing is loaded until they say okay. And that also means that Google Analytics, for example, is not tracking your visitors' actions on your website until they consent. That's just how it is. Hide powered by Illow message. That's the white label option. I'm pretty sure white label, If we go back here, I guess white label is included in all of them. So that's the white label option included in all the plans. The last option is activate CCPA notice feature. This means you have to programmatically open the CCPA notice using this function right here. And I'd rather not mess with that. Just turn this off and just have it load on your own. If you're a developer and you're more advanced and you want to have the CCPA notice only show up at specific times, go for it. Use that. But me, I prefer just a blanket everywhere in the world, just everybody accepts the cookies. And if some people don't get tracked on my site because of that, that's fine. That's just how it is. I'd rather be covered. Instead of getting a $1 million fine, I'd rather be just covered. Just everybody has to do it. Over here for the policies, the cookie policy was automatically created when Illow scanned your website. So we can use that one. I believe it's specific to our website. Copy that link, open the page, and let's see. These are the actual cookies from our website. These are Ezoic cookies, and Ezoic is on that website. And these are just the IDs of the cookies. If you were to inspect your website, those are the IDs that you'd see. And this creates the cookie policy. And this is linked to directly from the widget. So if we go back to the cookie banner, this is linked to right here. Cookie policy. It might not be live, so it might not load here properly. But if this was live on the website, that cookie policy link would take us to this page right here to show the cookie policy. And we also have the ability to use our own cookie policy if we want to not use the Illow one. There's also a privacy policy. We can use our own. We can use the one from Illow. This one can be created. There's a little form we walk through. Let's start that right now. And we're going to create our own privacy policy through Illow, and they're going to take care of all the legalese and stuff like that. So we start by filling out this form. I think it takes about 5 minutes to do. We just enter a legal name for the website. This isn't the actual legal company name for it. It's not actually its own company. And then we have to add our legal name, our contact email, our phone number, our legal address, and our country. And we choose whether it's a website or a mobile app. We choose website. There's the URL. Then click on next. On the legislations page, we choose which regulations we want to comply with. I'm going to go with GDPR. I feel like I just check all of these just because. I'm not a lawyer. I haven't even consulted a lawyer for this stuff. But if we comply with all of them, that's a good thing, right? I think. I'm not sure. Might want to consult a lawyer, just in case. Click on next. This is where you explain what the personal data of people is used for. This would be not very relevant to RVing with family because I don't collect any data at all. I don't even have an opt-in form on that website. But if you had an opt-in form, you might want to choose the name, email address. That's commonly used in opt-in forms. If you have an e-commerce store, you might be collecting phone number, might be collecting addresses for shipping, financial information, which maybe you wouldn't be collecting. Maybe the Stripe would be collecting that, but you'd still want to, I think, check that. Even though you don't have it, Stripe has it, and you can't even access it. You can't see the financial information, so maybe don't check that. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. I don't know about financial information. Even if you're an e-commerce store, you don't actually have access to the credit card numbers because they're all hidden. So I'm not sure. But it is collected by something associated with you, which is Stripe, your Stripe account. So maybe do check that. What's the purpose of this data? Check at least one. Send users marketing and promotional campaigns. I would check that if I had an opt-in form that sent newsletters and things. And then you can read through these and check the ones that apply to you. I'm just going to check these two, pretending I have an opt-in form, which I don't. Just pretend I do. And here we have to select at least one. So you could select all of them, but you can't select 0. You got to select at least one. Do you accept payments on your website? Nope, not on this one. How long do you store the collected user data? Enter the number of months of eternity. I don't know. I don't delete the emails until they unsubscribe. Just put that in for number of months. Does your company have social networks like Facebook, Insta, Yes, they do. Or yes, it does. Which of these platforms does your company integrate to display services on your website for registration or for marketing purposes? Google Maps? No. YouTube? No. Facebook? Integrate to display services on your website. None of the social medias are integrated in that way to display services. I have links to those social medias, but they are not integrated in a way that displays content on our website. Go check none of those. Click on next. To comply with the selected regulations, you must have an assigned PDO, data transfer, data protection officer. Does your company have an assigned DPO? I guess our compliance is not going to be great because we have to have that to be compliant. Click on save. Now we can check our policy. Not quite what I expected. Let's go back to policies. I thought it'd take me to the actual policy to see it. Oh, okay. Had to do that drop down, select English again, and it shows our policy right here. It's got a lot of information that hopefully is the correct information for these consents. So you can use this privacy form or you can use your own, as I mentioned. or you can not include the privacy policy in the cookie banner. All those options work. I'm just going to use the ones that Illow created with my help just now. And now we're going to check to see if a cookie banner is live on the site. So in the time it took us to go through the rest of the site, it shows as integrated. Total of 2 visits so far. So if we go to the website, we should have I should see a cookie banner showing up. There it is. Cookie banner right there. There's a privacy policy we just created. There's cookie policy right there. If you are having problems with your integration, if this is still showing as red and not integrated, 3 visits, that's me. You can come to your site and double check to make sure the script is in the right spot. To do that, right click on your site wherever you want, click on view page source. I usually click on white space like I did this now. And I'm going to copy the script to my clipboard and then Command F or Control F to open the search bar and then paste in the script, and it shows it right here. And what you want to do is make sure the script is on its own, in its own tag, not like inside of a style tag or something like that. It's on its own, and it's inside the head section. The head section is where all these scripts and styles are usually linked, but we can confirm that if we scroll down. We see the body section, which comes right after the head down here. So the head must be, the head closing tag is right there. So our script is above that, which is what we want. We want it in between the head tags. So it's in the right spot. So if this is showing as not being integrated, but your script is in the correct location, just give it a little more time and it should eventually integrate. If it's not in the right place, if you do this search and this script is not in the head section, then you got to go back and tinker with the plugin, this guy here, WP Code, the snippet plugin. Either try a different plugin or tinker with the locations, or just make sure it's in the right spot. Just review all the settings like we did at the beginning of this video, just to make sure it's all set up properly. So now if we go to the website again, after all that, click on accept all, and now go back into Illow, we should see some data under a cookie consent log. And we do. Consent ID, model global, accepted, categories. These are the categories of the cookies. Country, anonymized, IP, and date given. So the cookies, the scan has completed. So this is the classification of the cookies. They're all unclassified. Oh no, a lot of them are classified. Some of them didn't know what to do with. So it doesn't know the ezoic cookie. So you could come in here, classify this as, of these 3, I don't know, marketing? Because they're ads, they're showing ads. I guess that's marketing. So you can come in and classify these as marketing. So you can go through, and if you know your cookies, which a lot of people don't, but if you do know them, you can classify them. All the ezo ones are all ezoic. Ezoic has a lot of cookies, a lot. Nitro, page cached, could set that to necessary for your page speed. Anyway, you can go through, categorize them. We try to categorize, Illow tries to categorize them automatically if it can. I'm going to check this box so it scans our site for cookies once a month. So now we've set up our site and we're now compliant. The very last thing that we want to cover is privacy ops. And this is where people can request their data to be removed from your systems. That's really what GDPR is. Anybody in the EU, any EU citizen has the right to not be tracked. And they can contact any website they want and say, stop tracking me, remove all your data about me from your systems. So this is where we can do that. This is the number of requests that have come in. How to get requests, I'll show you in a minute. The data sources, this is where you can add the data sources you use. So if you use MailChimp, click on edit, fill out the simple form, either do it manually or automatically, and you'll connect MailChimp to the system for really easy removal. Like if you have user data in 5 different apps, you have to go in and manually remove all the data from all those apps. Whereas here you can set up all the apps you use and then just remove them with a few clicks or even one click. So you set up all the apps that you connect people to in here. I assume they're going to be adding more. This isn't all the apps in the world, but it is a lot. It's quite a few. And once you have that configured, the request form is the form they actually fill out. So if I copy this URL, and this form is hosted on the Illow website, as you can see up here, and it's specific to RVing with Family. This is the data request or data removal request form that people fill out. So they choose what the type of request is, their name, email, their country, and the details. Whenever I receive these requests, it's usually just please delete me from all your systems. And I don't really have a whole lot of systems. I've got one e-commerce checkout platform and just my mailing list. So pretty simple to do. And then once they've filled this out, they would show up in Illow as a request. I'll just fill it out right now. Data deletion, big Bird, Big Bird at sesamestreet.com, country, Algeria. Remove my data. Submit. All right, that's submitted. And now, didn't have to refresh. They use Ajax to update instantly. At least I assume it's Ajax. One request, one action needed. Big Bird sent in this form. You can also reject the request if you want it. So then we can resend the verification so that the user has to verify that's their real email address, because anybody could just submit anybody's email address. So we need to send, or they need to verify that's actually them requesting it. And then once verified, then you can go through and process it, and processing being removing from these data sources, and it can be done in just one click if they're all configured properly. So Illow makes your compliance life a whole lot easier, as you can tell. If we go back to the deal page here, we see the different tiers. They really vary just in domains and the number of visitors. 50 domains is the max, unlimited monthly visitors per account, and then we have access to the API. I'm not sure how you'd use the API in this case, but I guess if you're doing like mobile apps and stuff that aren't really websites where you can't integrate the snippet very easily, you could connect with the API directly. If you want to check out Illow, use the link in the description down below. Using that link does not make it more expensive for you. It just makes AppSumo share part of the sale with me as commission, which helps me keep making these videos for free. Next up, make sure you check out my lifetime deals channel. It's right over here called Limitless LTDs. And if you like AI, which is all the rage right now, check out my AI channel called the AI Underground right over here as well. And if you haven't done so yet, click subscribe and ring the bell on this channel so you don't miss any future videos. Till next time, keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.